Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Monday night. It's 6 p.m. That means it's time for AEW Weekly. This is No Bones About Wrestling, presenting AEW Weekly. I'm your host Asa, along with my permanent co-host Kay Fabulous here.
Hey.
And tonight we have a good show for you. It was an interesting week in AEW, that's for sure. We had a not so great Dynamite and a very good Collision. So we'll do the television recap, and then we'll get to a couple segments. We're of course going to discuss the airing of CM Punk attacking Jack Perry back at All In last year, and we'll discuss that and some of its ramifications and what we think of it and all that sort of thing. But of course, we'll do the TV recap first, and I try and do those pretty quickly so we can get to talking about some of the angles and things like that going on. So we'll start off with that. AEW Dynamite, April 10th, it was in Charleston, West Virginia. Started off with an AEW World Title Eliminator match. It was going to be Samoa Joe taking on Dustin Rhodes. Joe entered first, so that made you know something might be up. And Swerve Strickland comes out and attacks Joe and put Joe through a table with a spear. And so then at that point, the match was off. They weren't doing it first anymore. It got moved to the main event of the night. Up next, we had a video about Trent Beretta turning on the Best Friends. And then we had Renee outside Orange Cassidy's locker room looking for a reaction from him. We still haven't haven't seen Orange Cassidy since Trent Beretta attacked him and turned on him. So it'll be interesting to see what Cassidy has to say, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So the first match of the night on Dynamite, the AEW TNT title match. Adam Copeland defending against Penta El Cerro Miedo, accompanied by Alex Abrahantes, of course. During the match, there was a countdown to the Young Bucks clock in the upper left corner of the screen. That was pretty funny. That was pretty interesting. Of course, everyone was waiting to see that the footage from All In.
Can I point something out, though,
Yeah.
with that? So, to me, it didn't make sense because presumably there were people watching that were watching just to see that footage.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you want them to be exposed to your product so that maybe they will see something they like and become viewers of your show? Mm-hmm. By putting a clock up there, like, if I didn't like AEW, I would have just set a timer for 18 minutes and then come back later when my timer went off for the part of the show I was interested in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. But I guess they'd rather have people tuning in for sure than not tuning in and missing it. You know,
yeah.
You know, not tuning in and being like, oh, it's still not on, and flipping back and forth and this and that. They'd rather give people a definite time so they're definitely tuning in. That's my thought.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the TNT title match, Copeland won by pinfall. Expected this match to be very good. This was the first time ever meeting between these two, and maybe that's why it wasn't so great. The two never really got a flow going. It wasn't terrible or anything like that, but they never really, like I said, linked up and got a story going in the match. It was just kind of back and forth, and at one point it got very slow. It was like there was nothing going on in the match, and it was confusing as to why. I don't know what happened there. But for like 2 or 3 minutes, there was nothing going on in the match at all. Very odd. Somewhere in the middle of the match. But that match, I gave it 3.5 bones out of 5. The beginning was good. The ending was good. Like I said, the middle was just kind of rough and strange. But 3.5 bones out of 5. Copeland won, kept the belt. And then the lights go off. When they come back on, TBS champion Julia Hart and Brody King of the House of Black are in the ring, and they attack Adam Copeland. And Willow Nightingale comes down for the save, and the heels ran away. So I don't know why Brody King was running from Willow Nightingale, really, but okay, sure. Very, very odd. It didn't make any damn sense. They've got Adam Copeland down, so Brody King is running from Willow Nightingale.
Brody King can't hit Willow Nightingale because he's a boy and she's a girl.
I see.
But she's allowed to hit him. So.
Yeah. If it were Mexico, it'd be okay. Up next, Renee is with Chris Jericho, FTW champion Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. And Jericho tells them to follow his plan, and they will win their match against Shane Taylor Promotions. So Jericho kind of taking over this little stable he's built. Up next, the Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe was with Eddie Kingston, Willow Nightingale, Stokely Hathaway, and Adam Copeland, the TNT champion. Copeland challenges Hart and King to fight he and Willow next week on Dynamite. So we have that 2 days from now. Copeland and Nightingale versus Julia Hart and Brody King.
Can I point something out about that?
Okay.
So actually, Willow Nightingale suggests it. And while she's suggesting it, Adam Copeland goes, wait, I have an idea. And then he says literally the exact same thing that Willow is just saying, just like a fucking man, you know? So, AEW, I got my eyes on you.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's strange. FTR come out and talk. They say they're tired of talking about All Out, where their buddy attacked Jack Perry. They also said that they could help run AEW if the Bucks want to leave. So there's that. This weird promo.
I thought it was good.
It was good, but it was just not. I didn't expect them to be talking about anything that they talked about when they came out. So
Dax is so much better than Cash on the mic.
yeah, yes, he is. Up next, Will Ospreay cuts a promo about his match with Bryan Danielson coming up at Dynasty in 6 days. Well, 6 days from now, that is. He also jabbed back at Triple H concerning Triple H basically calling him lazy. Triple H, if you missed it, he came out with some comment last week about the grind and how Will Ospreay couldn't take the grind. But really, Will Ospreay signed with AEW. Well, one, better wrestlers there. Two, a better schedule. And three, more money. And four, his family could stay in the UK and not have to move to America. And, so Ospreay's now wife, her then husband, killed himself a couple years ago. And so she kind of wants to stay in the UK. So, she and her son, Ospreay's stepson, can be near family. They're still getting over this, I'm sure. And Triple H knows that. Everybody in the wrestling industry knows that. They seem to know that. And Triple H knew that and still made this comment talking about why Ospreay didn't sign with WWE. And it's just sour grapes, and it's really off-putting. So Ospreay was kind of jabbing back at Big Nose there. Up next, TBS champion Julia Hart cut a promo via video. It was this is the paranormal looking video, right? Wasn't it? Wasn't that the one?
What do you mean by paranormal?
There was fire everywhere and some skulls and stuff like that.
That was good. That was cool.
She cut a promo via video, and it was focused on Willow Nightingale and their match at Dynasty. And it was good. It was well produced, and it's obvious that that lady whose name I forget.
Jennifer something? Jenny something?
Exactly. The lady whose name we both forget, apparently.
I think it's Jenny Wentworth, but I'm guessing.
It's not Jenny Wentworth.
Jenny Wentworth.
You're making that up. anyways, it seems as though having extra hands in the women's production side of things is helping out. So that's cool. That's good to see. Because it was a well done promo and very well filmed. Very really showed Hart's character, got her character across very well.
With not as much talking as they normally do, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
Like her actions spoke louder than her words.
Mm-hmm. After that, Lion Hook and Katsuyori Shibata took on Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, and Anthony Ogogo, Shane Taylor Promotions. And Moriarty hit the Fang for the pin and the win after Shane Taylor interfered while he was the illegal man. So, Shane Taylor Promotions get the win in this trios match.
He pinned Shibata, in case you were wondering who took the pin for that side.
Thank you. And this match, again, it was another one where the guys didn't really get hooked up. They didn't really get it going. Like I said, this episode of Dynamite just really didn't do it for me, for us, I think.
Well, yeah.
They've been on a roll of great episodes, and this one was not it. This match I gave, again, it was a good wrestling show. It wasn't a terrible show or anything, but just relative to the quality of shows that they've been putting on, it was bad. Where really it was just kind of an average, or slightly above average wrestling show, I'd say.
Can I add something that you're leaving out?
Well, let me get my bone rating first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the trios match, I gave 3 bones out of 5. Decent match. Nothing amazing going on. Decent match. And again, I don't understand why Shane Taylor continues to be featured. I don't find his character interesting. I don't find his mic work very interesting, or it doesn't stand out. And his in-ring style sure as hell doesn't stand out. I couldn't even tell you what his in-ring style is. Independent, North American independent worker. That's his in-ring style. Average independent worker.
Slow.
Yeah, slow. I'm not a fan. Don't understand why he's getting so much screen time. He must be, I don't know, blackmailing someone. That's my guess. What was it you wanted to point out?
So I think the whole point of this match was so that Jericho and Hook could start arguing during it to lead up to them wherever the story is going.
Yeah.
Because that's how Shibata got pinned, because no one was there to make a tag, because they were on the floor kind of pushing and shoving each other a little bit.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that a bit more later, that sort of dispute between Jericho and his buds, his new buds now. Next, we had Dustin Rhodes cut a promo about his match upcoming with Samoa Joe, and his overall passion for wrestling. Was not a great promo. Didn't really grab you. And this whole, they're obviously doing this thing with Dustin just to counteract that other promotion and their deal with Cody Rhodes here lately. And it's just kind of weird, and it doesn't the helicopter goes by here or whatever. There's just doesn't work with Dustin. The passion isn't there. His words seem don't seem genuine. And I hate to say that, because he really usually comes off as a very genuine guy. But here, just his quest for the world title seems very manufactured. Doesn't seem like something that's coming from the heart, because it's not. He knows he's not going to win the damn world title, and so is all the viewers. So what's the fucking deal? What a waste of time. What a waste of time.
Plus, it was hard.
And nothing against Dustin. I love Dustin Rhodes, but just what a waste of time as far as an angle, TV time. And I'm not saying he doesn't belong on TV, but he doesn't belong on TV in this role where, maybe fighting for the world title. Not in AEW. Up next, we had a non-title match with AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada, member of the Elite, and he took on Cristiano Argento, which I love the name, but he didn't have much of a chance in this match. Okada hit the Rainmaker for the pin and the win. This was a squash match. I don't rate those. Okada, accepts Pac's challenge for Dynasty. So we have a Continental title match coming up, and that's going to be one of the best matches of the night, I believe. Pac comes out, and then the Young Bucks come out, and the Elite 3-on-1 attack Pac. And then FTR run out and join the fray, and the Elite put them down too. So we leave the segment with the Elite standing tall, as they pretty much have since they've been unbeatable since Okada's joined them, and the Young Bucks have had this new attitude, and taking their jobs as EVPs seriously, and being Nicholas and Matthew. They've been unbeaten. Okada's been unbeaten since he's been there. The Elite are on a roll, and I believe they're going to be adding a member. We're going to talk about who it is in a bit. Up next, we had Bullet Club Gold, and all three of them who are present. Of course, Juice Robinson's still injured. But Bullet Club Gold cut a promo on Billy Gunn. Of course, that feud's still going between Bullet Club Gold and the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Up next, Renee calls out Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm for a champagne toast. And this was another segment that just didn't work for me on this show. What did you think?
Yeah, no, it was odd and a little awkward.
Yeah, it was awkward. Yeah, this whole episode of Dynamite, just the pacing, the segments that they chose to do, the matches that they ended up with, just didn't really do it. Didn't really do it. But so they do the champagne toast. Tony Storm throws champagne at Thunder Rosa, and then attacks her and smears her makeup all over her face. And then Deonna Purrazzo runs in and tries to help Thunder Rosa and tries to help her up. And Thunder Rosa doesn't want her help. Purrazzo kind of takes a step back, and then she says, "Well, fuck you," which made it on television. So I'm sure they love that. And then Purrazzo leaves. And then Mariah May comes out to make sure that Tony Storm is okay. And she was coming out for a match as well. Because it was Mariah May versus Anna Jay next. And Mariah May won with a roll-up. Got the pin and the win. This match, Mariah May looked very good, I thought. Anna Jay, not so much. She looks very clunky in the ring. It looks like she's going from spot to spot. Doesn't look like it's an organic match when she wrestles. I gave this one 2 bones out of 5. There's nothing great going on here. It's a very kind of average match. After the match, Anna Jay puts Mariah May in the rear naked choke, trying to make her pass out. And then Mina Shirakawa comes down to save May. I'm told they're former tag team partners somewhere. Stardom. Thank you, yeah. And she saves Mariah May and then feeds her champagne and kisses her on the lips. So there was that. And that was out of nowhere. Up next, Alex Marvez hosts Mercedes Moné for an interview, and the lights go off, and we hear a rustling, a rumbling, and we hear Alex Marvez screaming, or shouting rather, "Turn on the lights, turn on the lights," and the lights come back on, and Mercedes Moné is on the floor, and someone has attacked her mysteriously, and we're going to talk about who that may be in a bit. And up next, we had the main event, the AEW World Title Eliminator match, Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes. good match, actually. Joe hit Dustin with the belt and pinned him. Dustin bladed in this match, had blood all over his face. Yeah, it was a good match. 3.5 bones out of 5. Decent match. After the match, Samoa Joe put Dustin in a sleeper, which is strange because it's the same thing we just saw with Anna Jay and Mariah May. It seems like you don't want to put those things back to back, the exact same ending to a match. But and so Swerve Strickland ran in and tried to murder Joe with a chain. Like took a chain back that Joe had taken from Swerve and just was whipping it. Like I said, trying to murder him. It seemed. And some sea-level talent, they run out from the back and try to protect Samoa Joe, try to protect the pay-per-view main event for this Sunday. And then Prince Nana grabs the world title belt and hands it to Swerve. And Joe is furious as Swerve holds up the world title and the show ends. So, like I said, not a rare bad episode of AEW Dynamite. Match of the night, probably going to give to Adam Copeland versus Penta El Zero Miedo. Like I said, even it was only a 3.5 bones out of 5. That was the highest rating for any match, which for an AEW show is rare. But that's 3.5 bones was as high as any match went on this show. Just like I've said throughout the review here, just not a great episode. Things didn't really click. Some things did. Not every segment was a loser, but just a lot of segments didn't click, and the matches they didn't seem to have the same energy that AEW usually comes with. Yeah.
Can I point out one thing?
Okay.
That I found an odd choice with Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
So, AEW, in case you haven't watched this week or last week, it's where the best wrestle, and that's like the slogan that they're like shoving down our throats right now, like really hammering home in almost every promo.
Mm-hmm.
And on this episode of Dynamite, we had the Shane Taylor Promotions match. We had Cristiano Argento, who is local talent, I'm guessing. And we had Anna Jay. And no offense to Dustin Rhodes, but when you look at the rest of the roster, we had Dustin Rhodes. How is that helping cement the idea that AEW is where the best wrestle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it is. I agree that it's where the best wrestle, but not that night.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't show it off. Yeah, good point. And it's the oh, I left out the bit with the Young Bucks showing the footage.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did.
That's because we're going to talk about it later. But the Young Bucks did show the All In footage, and we have CM Punk attack Jack Perry backstage, and then you have Samoa Joe kind of pull them off, kind of separate them, and essentially the Young Bucks say that this was such a distraction to them that as EVPs, they have all this bullshit going on backstage. So that was why they lost to FTR at All In. I guess they fought it All In, right?
Yeah, they fought it All In. Yeah.
So that's why they lost to a FTR at All In. So that's how this footage becomes part of an angle. That's how they're using it. But it's also another way I think it's going to be. And like I said, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. After the Collision recap, we're going to talk more about this. And
just so they in the show order, it came before the FTR promo. So like immediately after the footage was the FTR promo. So it made a little more sense.
Yeah, sorry I left that out. But that's because we're going to talk more about it. I meant to note it and move on, and I just forgot to mention it. But they did play the footage. That did happen. And as I said, they made it part of the storyline. Up next, AEW Collision, April 13th, Highland Heights, Kentucky, wherever that is. First off, an update. Jon Moxley won the IWGP title. So good on him. He becomes the first man to ever win the AEW, WWE, and IWGP belts. No one's ever done that before.
It's like their heavyweight belt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's New Japan's world title. They call it a world title, but I mean,
They just gave it to an American. It's a world title. Someone was fighting for it that works for an American promotion in America. And wasn't that in Chicago?
Yeah, it was in Chicago.
So it's fine. It's a world title.
So to start the show off, Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli, Moxley's BCC running mates, they have a promo on the Callis family, talking about how the Callis family thinks they're going to hurt the BCC, and while the BCC, they say they may be able to be beaten, they can't be hurt. It was a good promo. Kind of instilled or reinforced this, just them being, tough wrestlers. Castagnoli, Danielson, Moxley, and, Yuta, who is injured at the moment, Wheeler Yuta.
I feel like the Castagnoli part of the promo was unnecessary, though. He was just rephrasing what Bryan had just said.
Yeah, they just wanted him to talk.
Yeah.
To start the show off, as far as matches, we had a trios match: House of Black versus Dante Martin, Action Andretti, and Matt Sydal. This was an excellent match. House of Black doing their thing. Of course, they're a very well-balanced trio, former World Trios champions. And this new team of Dante Martin, Action Andretti, and Matt Sydal, man, they were awesome. They were on it. All over the place, delivering super kicks, hurricane ranas, top rope moves. Of course, you had Malachi Black doing a moonsault off the top rope. You had Brody King diving through the ropes. I mean, it was wild. Action everywhere, and everyone was hitting their moves. Just a very smooth match. Everything looked great. Great match. House of Black won when all three members striked Matt Sydal at once. And Brody King got the pin. Very good match. As I said, 4.5 bones out of 5, with House of Black getting the win. Up next, Lexi was with Women's World Champion Toni Storm, Mariah May, and her butler, Luther. Toni Storm's butler, that is, not Mariah May's. Toni has a match with Azumi tonight and a pay-per-view title defense against Thunder Rosa coming up. So that's what she was talking about. We then see footage from After Dynamite on Wednesday. And we have, Mind Runner here saying, can't wait. Hey, Mind Runner, how's it going? Saying, can't wait for the intergender tag on Dynamite, House of Black versus Edge. Of course, Adam Copeland and Willow. Yeah. That's gonna be interesting for sure. So that after Dynamite, Chris Jericho asked Taz to get in touch with Hook for him. Apparently, Hook has been ignoring Jericho's calls and texts since he kind of acted like a dick to him on after they lost, or while they were losing to Shane Taylor Promotions on Dynamite. And Taz says, he's his own man, but he'll do his best. Up next, we had Katsuyori Shibata versus Lee Moriarty, accompanied by Shane Taylor and Anthony Ogogo. Anthony Ogogo interferes, punches Shibata in the stomach. I thought they kept calling it a liver punch, which made it sound really painful. Ogogo interferes, so for the last bit of the match, Shibata is holding his stomach, his liver, holding his liver in for the rest of the match. And Shibata eventually hit the PK for the pin and the win. Shibata got the win here over Lee Moriarty. Good match. Good match. Give this one 4 bones out of 5. Shibata getting the win over Lee Moriarty. Moriarty wrestled well, but just kind of the killer instinct just doesn't seem to be there for Moriarty.
The fire.
The fire, yeah, is missing when he has a technical ability for sure, but you just don't see fire when he's wrestling. I don't, at least.
Yeah.
But Shibata looked great. After the match, Shane Taylor attacks Shibata, and then FTW champion Hook runs in for the save. Up next, Lexi was with Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena and Ring of Honor World Television Champion Billy Starks. And they talked about Red Velvet, as Athena was going to face Red Velvet on the Battle of the Belts 10, which aired after Collision. Then we had Lexi with International Champion Roderick Strong and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, The Undisputed Kingdom. And Strong says he's going to give Rocky Romero a beating. Again, he is referring to Battle of the Belts 10. And then we have Daniel Garcia versus Angelico, accompanied by Serpentico. They're, of course, the Spanish Announce Project is what they're called. Good match, interesting matchup. Garcia won via submission with a leg lock. This match didn't go quite the way I imagined. I imagined seeing a little more of Angelico's technical expertise. They didn't really let him do that, and they didn't really let him get in any high flying. Angelico, very skilled, very well trained in several styles, but they didn't really let him do his thing. It wasn't a squash match, but they didn't really let Angelico show off much. Daniel Garcia, of course, they're just trying to get Daniel Garcia over still, or more over than he is.
And just in case you didn't hear this on Wednesday, the commentators stated that Angelico now wants his name pronounced Angelico. He is no longer Angelico. So in case you missed that, I didn't want you to think we were saying his name wrong.
Right, yeah. For years it's been Angelico, and now apparently he wants it to be Angelico, which sounds weird.
Yeah.
Sounds like a snack or something. Like a dessert snack. Angelico, like Go-Gurt.
Not like a Little Debbie cake?
No, it doesn't sound like a Little Debbie cake. It sounds like something floppy, like Go-Gurt or like Jell-O, something that flops, bounces. Where was I? Oh, 3.5 bones. Garcia beats Angelico. 3.5 bones out of 5. Good match. Up next, Pac is out, and he talks about Kazuchika Okada. And of course, they are fighting at Dynasty for Okada's Continental Championship. Up next, a non-title eliminator match with Toni Storm, the World Women's Champion, accompanied by Mariah May, fighting Azumi, accompanied by Anna Jay. And Azumi, a Stardom star. If you never heard of her, like me, I'd never heard of her. I don't know much about Stardom. Tony hit Storm 0 for the pin and the win. This is a good match here. Azumi, undersized, but they did a good job of kind of selling her strategies against Tony. Not working at first, and then her having to redo her strategy to be able to fight Storm. Good match. 4 bones out of 5, I gave it. A good match there. After the match, Tony and Mariah May toast with champagne. This is a new thing, apparently. And Tony licks Mariah's head after the match. And then we get Red Velvet in a promo, and she says she's going to defeat Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's World Title. Again, that's a Battle of the Belts 10 match.
That was a good promo. She was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially like comparing it to Athena's that she did earlier in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Like Red Velvet, way more convincing, way more passionate. I feel like she sold it better.
Up next, Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe says he's out and with a mic, and he says he understands the House of Black's MO. He says they want to instill fear, and he says that he, Copeland, and Kingston, though, will defeat them at Dynasty. I'm definitely looking forward to that trios match at Dynasty. That's going to be a wild one, I think. Going to be fun. The card for Dynasty looks awesome. And if you missed our announcement on X, on Friday, we're doing a preview and prediction show for AEW Dynasty. Oh wait, no, we're not. Thursday we're doing a preview and prediction show for Dynasty. I said it was on Friday. I just realized that's not possible. Thursday we're doing a show previewing and predicting Dynasty, 6 p.m. Thursday. Same place you're watching this, wherever it is, YouTube, Twitch, or X. Next, Tony Schiavone calls out Thunder Rosa, who says she's going to, quote, drag Tony Storm's soul to hell at Dynasty.
I like it.
So looking forward to that match as well. They had quite a few promos here on this Collision. This Collision much better than Dynamite was, I have to say. Usually Collision is not, is not as good as Dynamite, not even close. But this week it was better. I can't think of the last time that happened.
I think you can't think of it because this might be the first time that's happened.
No, I think it's happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Punk was still there.
Maybe. Deonna Purrazzo challenges Mariah May to a match next week, which I believe we're getting on Dynamite. Well, yeah. Dynamite in 2 days from now. We get an announcement that the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament Final with FTR versus the Young Bucks is going to be a ladder match. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, that card for Dynasty just looks great. Can't wait for that show. Then we get Ring of Honor World Television Champion Kyle Fletcher and Powerhouse Hobbs with a short promo, and they say that they reiterate that they're going to hurt Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. And yeah, Mind Runner saying ladder match, let's go. I'm with that, yeah. And especially with those two teams, Young Bucks and FTR. I've heard people saying they're sick of this matchup, but they've only fought, 3-4 times or something?
So I was thinking about that.
Let me finish what I was saying. Okay. But these two teams, they're both very skilled, and their styles are so different. I don't think we've seen these teams, show everything they got against one another yet. I don't understand how people are bored of this matchup with two of the best tag teams in the world. I don't get it. But I'm looking forward to it, and especially when you throw in the ladder element of it. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Yes, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so I think the reason why people feel that way is we've seen them against each other more times than that. There have just been other people there also. So either in like a 3-way tag match or as trios tag matches. Because like when CM Punk was here, did we not see I don't know, because then he wouldn't have been with the Young Bucks. I don't remember that.
Nope.
But I think we have. I refuse to believe that it's only been 3 times in AEW. Because it feels like more.
Oh, my point is I don't think it's been run out yet. And they haven't fought each other in a little bit now. So for the people who are, over it, whatever you want to call it, I just don't know where you're at, where you can't, enjoy good tag team wrestling like these two are going to give us on a regular basis. I don't think they've shown us everything they've got against each other,
Well, I think a ladder match is like a good way to fix that for the people that are feeling that way, because it's adding a whole new element. Because I felt that way. And now that they've added the ladder match, I'm like, ooh, ladder match.
Yeah, so Mind Runner says, do you think we'll see Jack Perry at Dynasty? We're going to talk about that right after we're done with this Collision recap here in just a minute. We're going to talk about everything having to do with the CM Punk footage and all that. And Mindrunner also saying, why turn down a steak dinner? Exactly. Give me FTR versus Bucks all year. Yeah. Like I said, when you got a matchup of these two teams this caliber, I don't understand wrestling fans being like, oh, we're tired of this. I don't get it. I don't know. People just like to complain. I don't know anybody whose opinions I really take seriously who says that they're sick of it, but I did see quite a few people being like, "Oh, Bucks versus FTR again," you know. All right, main event of Collision was Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Ring of Honor World Television Champion Kyle Fletcher, of course, two members of the Callis family. Good match, good back and forth. Just everybody played their part well. Claudio Castagnoli pinned Kyle Fletcher. Good match, as I said, 4 bones out of 5. I gave this one. After the match, Konosuke Takeshita came out, attacked Danielson and Castagnoli, and Takeshita hit a brainbuster on Danielson right on the ramp. Pretty brutal looking move. And the show goes off the air pretty much with the Callis family having the upper hand there on the BCC, and beating them up after the match, after losing at least. Dynamite download here saying, "Hey, Asa and Kay, hey, how's it going?" So now we have a segment we're gonna call Assault on Jungle Boy. And
Salt or assault?
Assault.
Okay.
Mindrunner saying, I like heel Takeshita. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm down with heel Takeshita. I can't believe the guy hasn't held a belt yet. I mean, he's so good in the ring, and but yeah, I like him as a heel, definitely. He wasn't really doing much as a face. He was just kind of a generic baby face, but he does seem to have come into his own as a heel. Mindrunner says Salt on Jungle Boy sounds better. But no, that's not what we're talking about. Assault on Jungle Boy. So the Young Bucks finally they play the footage from All In, the security footage, which of course didn't have sound because most security cameras don't have sound. And so we see the footage where CM Punk is confronting Jack Perry, and he's obviously, complaining to him, and Jack Perry looks very defensive. His body language, you can just tell he's, kind of defending himself against whatever CM Punk is saying. And then just out of nowhere, CM Punk shoves the guy, and Jack Perry gives him a look like, what the fuck, And then Punk grabs him and pretty much tries to murder him, is the way it looks. It looks very brutal. Just grabs him and tries to choke him out, tries to knock him out, kill him, whatever the fuck his intentions were. I mean, you can kill someone that way. Not to sound over dramatic, but you can. I'm sure he wasn't trying to kill him. I say I'm sure. I guess he wasn't. I don't know. The guy seems nuts to me. Who knows what he was doing? The guy seems like a nut to me. But very brutal attack, not to oversell it. I know some people are like, oh, it's not that bad and this and that. And, you got to remember, this isn't the 70s. This isn't the 80s anymore. This isn't wrestling. I mean, I love wrestling. I like it better than wrestling. Don't get me wrong. But just to say that this isn't what it is anymore. It's not like it used to be. So you can't just pull that shit anymore. And especially when it's not a two guys, coming together to say, hey, let's fight and settle this. Like, he just sheep-shotted Jack Perry in the back, I was going somewhere with that. My point being, to me, the video made CM Punk look like a psycho. I mean, you can't do that at work. And some people said, like I said, you can't do that at work. Doesn't matter where you work. And some people are like, oh, well, I think I saw Danhausen defend CM Punk. He shared something that someone said, saying, "Yeah, most jobs though don't ask you to drag a razor blade across your forehead or fall off a ladder." And it's like, well, that's no excuse,
Well, those are things that you're doing to yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That doesn't mean I can come and cut them with razor blades.
You're doing them to yourself voluntarily.
Yeah.
It's not just an attack, an assault. Like I said, the guy looks like a nut to me. Absolutely a nut. And this isn't the first time he's pulled shit like this, we know. And of course, that's why he got fired. So good. And, a lot of people are saying they shouldn't have played the tape. And I just don't understand why not, what the big deal was. And especially they're trying to play it into an angle. And now we'll get into it. So, they're saying that this going on is what distracted the Young Bucks, and they lost to FTR at All In. And so they're not showing this just out of the blue, just for no reason right now. I think the reason being is, and Mind Runner asked a minute ago, I think at Dynasty, in this ladder match for the World Tag Team titles, I think we're going to see Jack Perry return, cost FTR the titles. So the Young Bucks walk away with the World Tag Team titles. And I think we're going to see Jack Perry join the Elite. That's my prediction, at least.
And then be back to stay in AEW, or then go back to New Japan?
I think back to stay.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think then we'll have, because if he's not, I don't know, there wasn't a point for showing that footage. Mm-hmm. If Jack Perry doesn't have a role to play, and I'll talk more about this in the news, actually. There was a quote from Tony Khan that made me think that definitely Jack Perry is coming back. But if Jack Perry doesn't have a role to play in Dynasty, then yeah, it was kind of pointless to show this. But I believe he definitely does. So yeah, got a lot of people riled up, and got people, of course, saying, got the tribalism going with, the people defending Tony Khan, people saying Tony Khan's the worst. They should never have played this footage. How dare they? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's their footage, and it's their, employee, who attacked another. So if you can't get anything else out of it, maybe you can turn it into an angle. So they're trying to make, lemonade out of lemons, rather. So hopefully they do. And I think it will be an interesting angle if they do bring Jack Perry in here.
It'll be nice for him to have some heel heat, because when he was a heel before all of this, it was not going too well. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here we had, what did we say here? Mind Runner was saying here, TK can't make anyone blade. It's usually the person's choice. Yeah, going back to what we said a minute ago. Yeah. Dynamite Download said, what if the Bucks expect Jack Perry to side with them, but he joins FTR? Well, that would be interesting. That would be strange. I don't know why he would. Especially when they're Punk's friends, and that's what Mind Runner says here, FTR, Punk's friends, But yeah, it would be a good sign of them putting the Punk stuff behind. But so that's what I think is going to happen for sure. I think Jack Perry's joining the Elite. What do you think, Kay?
I also think Jack Perry is joining the Elite. Yeah. And if it's not, then I will go back to being mad at them for showing this footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're, like I said, they're turning it into an angle. I think it'll work. It'll be interesting. And at the end of the day, why not, take something that sucked and turn it into an interesting angle? Mm-hmm. And, it's gotten people's attention. The ratings on Dynamite went up, not by a ton, but they went up. And it's got people talking this week. So, it's cool. And there have been things in wrestling people acted like this was the first time that reality's ever been used in wrestling. It's been used so much in the past, where you take something that really shitty that happened and turn it into an angle with mixed results. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's in bad taste. And of course, that was the debate on the internet this week, was which one is it? And it remains to be seen. We'll see what happens at Dynasty and in the next couple of weeks, if it is something interesting, or if it was just maybe a mistake.
Well, like Matthew Jackson was wearing a scapegoat shirt,
Yeah.
when they were showing the footage, like it has to be, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, they're definitely playing it into an angle. So good for them. Good for them to be able to use it. And man, CM Punk, that guy needs help. Again, I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be funny. Just like the guy has gone, has assaulted people two different occasions in AEW over the last several years, and the guy just seems to have some problems and needs some help, I believe.
Anger management,
some counseling, some therapy, all that. He needs all that, it seems like. Has a very like, oh, the world's out to get me kind of attitude. And usually when you think that, it's like you're the problem usually. Textbook narcissist Dynamite Download says, never the villain, always either the hero or the victim. Yeah, exactly. In every story he tells, he's the good guy. Everybody's out to get him. Everybody's out trying to use him, and he's just the most popular wrestler in the history of the world, and this and that, and I'm just sick of it. Sick of hearing about him and talking about him and all that. So we'll end this there. We had to talk about it, obviously. So now we are heading to a segment that we call Where's This Going? So this is where we take things that happened on AEW television this week, and we ask the question, where's this going?
Wait, are you talking about Battle of the Belts though?
Oh, Battle of the Belts 10. I'll just really quickly say Roderick Strong beat Rocky Romero in an eliminator match. International champion Roderick Strong is, and he beat Rocky Romero. Athena beat Red Velvet, kept the belt there, kept the Ring of Honor Women's World title, and Hook kept the FTW title against Shane Taylor. So
when a match was made, wasn't it?
Huh?
A match got made for Dynasty, didn't it?
What match?
Aren't they doing Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly?
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly. Yes, thank you. Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. And I'm going to go over the card later, too. And again, our special Thursday night.
Sammy.
Thursday night, 6 p.m.
Sorry, I'm answering the question.
Mind Runner has trivia here.
I know the answer.
Who has been the only person to win a title at Battle of the Belts?
Sammy Guevara won the TNT title at Battle of the Belts. Isn't that crazy? This is the 10th one, and only one person has ever won a title. And like to have an eliminator match on Battle of the Belts instead of an actual battle for the belt.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But it is crazy to have 10 of them. So we've had 30 matches at least, and only one title change. Come on, guys, what's going on here? What are you doing? I mean, that makes it makes the show seem second rate. If you don't put title changes on it, it makes it seem like you can miss it. Mm-hmm. It makes it seem like it's not an important show. Yeah. So throw some title changes on these, and people will watch them more. Just weird. It's weird.
Plus, they need to let someone win an eliminator match, or they just need to stop having them.
Yeah, no one has ever won an eliminator match.
At least not that we can remember.
Not that I remember. Yeah. And Dynamite Download here said a battle of the retention of belts. Yeah, pretty much. All right, so where's this going? Samoa Joe versus Swerve. So here's the angle I'm looking at. Of course, they're fighting for the world title at Dynasty. And all throughout their feud here, they've been using weapons. So Samoa Joe, stole Swerve Strickland's chain that the Swerve has been using, and now Swerve stole it back, has been using this chain, and Swerve's, spearing Joe through a table and all this, but we've seen weapons throughout this feud. And so my question is, this match is just set up as a straight wrestling match, as it stands right now. So are we going to see weapons at Dynasty in the world title match? Are we going to see weapons play a part as much as they've been used in this feud? Do you think it's going to get turned into some sort of, no DQ match, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to get turned into a no DQ match.
Yeah.
I think for both men and their characters, them using weapons during the match makes sense. And I want them to be able to do that without looking like they're cheating, because I want Swerve to win, but win like cleanly. So if there's no way for him to cheat, then I'd like him to be able to win that way. And yeah, because of the level of violence escalating level of violence we've seen between the two of them, I feel like if this is going to be like their final matchup, they need to blow it all out.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel like it'll get turned into a no DQ match. Maybe on Dynamite this week. Excuse me, because I just don't see them using weapons as regularly as they have in this feud, and weapons not playing a part in the match on the pay-per-view. Just something I'd noticed, something I'd thought about recently. All right, what else do we got here? Orange Cassidy's reaction to Trent Beretta turning on him.
Can I add one thing to the Swerve talk really quickly?
Okay.
He signed the contract in blood.
Right.
The contract signing should not be more violent than the actual match.
Right.
My dog agrees.
Yeah. Ripley, that's enough.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
All right, so where's this going? Hey, come here. Come here.
I'll get her. You keep talking.
Where's this going? Orange Cassidy's reaction to Trent Beretta turning. What will it be? What will we see? So yeah, we've never, we rarely see Orange Cassidy, fired up, pissed off, so it's meant to be very serious when we do see him like that. And I feel like that's what we'll see. I think maybe head to a match between the two at Double or Nothing is kind of where we're headed. But yeah, I just wonder, how Cassidy will play this. What do you think? What do you expect out of Orange Cassidy?
Well, I'm more than how Orange Cassidy reacts. I'm more curious to see what Trent Beretta does next.
Yeah.
Because ever since I've been watching AEW, he's been part of this like best friends faction. Mm. So is he going solo, or is he going to join a different faction?
Yeah.
Because it feels not very facey for Orange to attack Trent Beretta when like Orange has friends and backup potentially, but Beretta doesn't.
Yeah, but
including Beretta's mom in his corner.
Yeah, but I don't think the best friends are going to get involved against Beretta because they're like you said, they're faces. They're not going to cheat. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to the matches between these two. It will be a very interesting feud, I think.
Well, I don't mean that they're going to cheat. I'm saying like they could thwart his attempts at cheating. Now that he's a heel, I'm assuming he's going to cheat at some point. So like he doesn't have anyone to have ringside to aid him in his cheating, and they have people and Cassidy has people at ringside to like pull a chair out of Trent's hands that he's going to hit Cassidy with or something. Yeah.
Well, what manager could use a new client? Could Trent Beretta join the the Mogul affiliates with Swerve.
No, that's
No.
for Swerve plus Monsters,
Yeah,
and he's not a monster.
I don't see that.
Well, it seems like Jericho might be turning heel. Maybe we can go with Jericho. I don't know. Maybe a Callis family member.
That would be interesting.
His wrestling is really close to that level, and I feel like if he's showcased more as a singles wrestler, he could fit in with the Callis family.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of solo promos from him, though, to know like how he. Well, I guess with Don Callis it doesn't matter because he can just talk for him. What about you?
I think the Callis family. I think that could be interesting, or just him solo. One or the other. I think could be good for him. But yeah, he's very skilled. Has never really had his time to shine. He's had several times where he's been the match of the night in AEW. That's for sure. Speaking of which, I just realized on Collision I didn't say the match of the night. Match of the night was the House of Black winning over Action Andretti, Dante Martin, and Matt Sydal, and that was the match of the week in AEW as well. That trios match, that was an awesome match. If you missed it, definitely check out Collision and check out that trios match. Yeah, Trent Beretta. So we'll see, but I'm definitely looking forward to the feud.
He's like always the bridesmaid and never a bride. You know, like if they have a tournament, he's winning that tournament only to then not win the title. Like over and over again.
Yeah, or second place in the tournament or whatever. Yeah. All right, Adam Copeland and Willow Nightingale feuding with the House of Black. And we even have a mixed tag team match coming up on Dynamite with Copeland and Nightingale versus Brody King and Julia Hart. What do you think of this feud?
I'm excited about it. Like, we don't get a lot of mixed tag matches. And I used to hate them because I was not a fan of when the WWE did them. I just thought they were choosing women that they shouldn't have been choosing, whose wrestling wasn't on par with the men's. But I feel like this could be really good. And I feel like it's going to showcase the women instead of just overshadowing them. Yeah.
No, I like a mixed tag match, you know. I think they're fun. And AEW doesn't do a whole lot of them. So it's interesting. I definitely didn't see Adam Copeland teaming up with Willow Nightingale, but it is interesting to have those two feuds coming together, where you have the House of Black they're going after everybody. You know, they're going after Copeland and Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston and Willow Nightingale, and kind of Chris Statlander, kind of,
and presumably Mercedes Moné, if that's what we're supposed to believe. Maybe. Anyway.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, looking forward to it. That mixed tag match as well should be interesting. Who do you have winning the mixed tag match?
I have put zero thought into this.
All right. I'll pick someone quickly.
I'm going to go with Julia Hart and Brody King.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. All right. So next, Chris Jericho's advice, plan, whatever you want to call it, not being followed by Hook, and Jericho, Hook, and Shibata losing to Shane Taylor Promotions in a trios match. What do you make of this?
So that was a stupid plan. Do you remember his plan? Like, he was saying like the order they were going to tag in and what moves they were going to do to specific people, but he didn't account for the fact that they don't get to decide which person on the other team tags in when.
Yeah.
So it was weird. Like, for someone who's such a veteran, it seems like such a stupid thing to do. And I thought that this thing with Shane Taylor Promotions and this like Hook, Shibata, Jericho group, I thought it was leading to Hook versus Anthony Ogogo. And now that they're doing this like weird Jericho Hook stuff, I don't think so anymore.
So I guess looking at Jericho versus Hook.
But we already had that.
Well, but on a different level.
Yeah.
On a different level. Yeah, that's good. It's interesting. And Chris Jericho, this stable or whatever you want to call it, this group, Chris Jericho filed for copyright for, quote, the Learning Tree, which I believe is what this group was going to be called, or is going to be called, the Learning Tree. And I believe, he suggested that name. Didn't he say it on Dynamite?
Oh, I don't remember.
I believe he said it on Dynamite, yeah.
Wait, so with copywriting, like, is this like the wrestling copyright of the Learning Tree? Because there has to be something in education that's like a company that's called the Learning Tree. There's like 0% chance
It's
that's
for,
not
well, the
a thing.
copyright is for wrestling. Yeah,
Okay,
it's for,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested in it. It's cool. I'm interested to see who else gets in it. It's weird that Shibata's been roped into it. Like, what is? I mean, Jericho's great, but Shibata's a veteran as well. So, does he really need Chris Jericho to tell him what to do? I don't think so. But it'll be interesting to see if Jericho gets any more youngsters in this before it totally blows up. Who knows? Maybe he and Hook will make up, and then he'll get some more youngsters in it, because I don't see why he filed for the copyright without it even being a thing. So I guess I see he and Hook making up, and this, and this becoming a stable.
The Learning Tree is a terrible name.
I like it.
But it has really cool merchandise possibilities.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool tree icons and stuff.
I like it, actually. It's different. It stands out.
Jericho's so bad at being someone's friend.
Yeah.
Like, he's just terrible at it.
But yeah, so we'll see where that's going. But I'm interested by it for sure. Jericho and Hook, and they keep trying to get Hook more over, and he definitely has his fans. But I mean, man, he's so small. I don't know.
That's why I thought Anthony Ogogo would be perfect, because 1, he's big, and 2, he's like an actual boxer, and that's very much the style that Hook approaches matches from. So to show him beating someone that's a real fighter and has the same style as him, I think that would be like a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be an interesting feud. I like Ogogo. The little I've seen of him, I like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Elite fighting Pac and FTR after Okada's match on Dynamite. What do you make of this? Are we going to see, where's this going?
Wait, say that again?
The Elite fought with Pac and FTR after Okada's match on Dynamite.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like they were fighting each other in a match after a match on this upcoming Dynamite.
No.
Okay.
They just were fighting. So what do you think? Are we going to get a trios match? There's nothing signed right now. There's nothing booked right now, but we're going to get
Yeah, I think either Wednesday or Saturday before the pay-per-view.
Saturday before the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome trios match.
And it would be such a good build to the event.
Yeah, hopefully we get a match out of it. That was a short one. Where's this going? Bullet Club promo that they cut on Billy Gunn on Collision. So, Bullet Club Gold. We're still thinking that Billy Gunn is turning on the Acclaimed and joining Bullet Club?
Yeah,
So it won't be on Dynasty. They're not booked for Dynasty, but sometime in the next month, you think?
Do you think they'll be added to Dynasty?
No.
Not even on the 0 hour?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted them to get on with it. Like, this story is dragging.
Yeah.
They need to do something, because what their original purpose was, they never did.
Yeah,
like, the story has to have some kind of follow through.
Yeah, they were supposed to team up to fight the Undisputed Kingdom, and that now the Undisputed Kingdom is like a non-factor in AEW. The stable is.
Well, they literally never talked about them or fought anyone from them, from the Undisputed Kingdom after joining. It was so stupid.
Yeah, and well, another AEW angle. I hate to say it, with no follow through. All right, where's this going? Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like collision match before pay-per-view, maybe.
Yeah, they're starting. It's weird to start the sub feud so close to the pay-per-view match for Thunder Rosa. But yeah, I guess there'll be something in the works. They don't usually have people interact and not have a match over it, on AEW. So I think Thunder Rosa not wanting Purrazzo's help the other night is going to set up a match between the two. All right, let's talk about this for a minute. Mercedes Moné attacked during an interview. The lights turn out. She's attacked. So who did it?
So can I just say, this segment was so bad.
Yeah.
Like Alex Marvez's acting when the lights were out.
It was bad.
It was like a video made by like a high school drama class.
Yeah.
It was just cringy, Even Mercedes dialogue, like it just was so cheesy seeming. Yeah. But I think we're supposed to think it's the House of Black, which makes me think it's not the House of Black. I think it might be Chris Statlander.
Yeah.
Like wanting to help out. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense though, because she's not fighting Willow yet, but she's going to. I think Double or Nothing. I don't know. What do you think's going on?
It could be anyone.
Well, that's not an answer. Of course, it's someone.
It could be anyone.
I think it's a person.
Could be anyone. Well, I mean, I don't think it's Willow, because I don't think they're going to turn her like a heel, If it's the House of Black, then that kind of seems to show that Julia Hart will retain her belt against Willow.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's Chris, because I think Willow's going to win the belt.
Yeah.
And so
Chris Willow versus Moné.
Yeah.
So Chris Statlander could be. She wasn't on TV this week. So maybe they're them hiding her like that, because she has been on TV, at least in interview segments, every week lately. And she wasn't on TV at all this week. So maybe them hiding her was them trying to fool us and not remember, not remember that she was involved in this. I don't know. It was just an odd coincidence. She was absent from television and this attack happened. So
I've just been teasing a heel turn for her for so long that I feel like I should eventually do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think could be Statlander. Could be Statlander. Couple more here. Where's this going? Tony Storm kissing and licking all over Mariah May. What's going on here?
I don't know.
Are they lesbians? Are they having a lesbian relationship? Is that what's going on?
I don't know.
Well, I'm asking
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care.
Okay.
Well, Tony explained it herself. She loves Mariah May because Mariah May is exactly like her, and she thinks she's the best thing ever. So, I think that's where it's going, and I mean, it's going eventually to, I think, Mariah May or Tony seeing Mariah May as no longer a complimentary copy of herself, but like wanting to go after the belt, perhaps, and then we get a timeless Tony versus the other Tony gimmick for the belt. Because I don't think Thunder Rosa's winning it.
Your answer had very little to do with kissing and licking.
That's because I addressed that at the beginning of my answer.
You don't care?
No.
Oh, I care.
No, I'm saying that because Tony views Mariah May as a copy of herself and she loves herself, that's why she's kissing and licking on her.
I got it. Well,
what do you think you have to say?
I don't know. I hope it continues. So
It's It's hard to say that without sounding pervy.
Well,
if it makes you feel better, I hope it continues too, because I think it's funny.
the shoe fits.
Because it wasn't really like sexy looking. It was like she was licking her like she was a cat and she was being cleaned.
Yeah, kind of. All right, where's this going? Callis family feuding with BCC. This is the last. Where's this going? You think we're going to see this continue after Dynasty?
No.
No?
I think it was just for Ospreay and Danielson at Dynasty.
Really? You don't think we're going to see Moxley return and get in a feud with one of the Callis family members as well? And it goes more past Dynasty. I mean, we also have Takeshita. They just threw Takeshita in it with attacking them, and then we have Moxley returning to AEW on Wednesday.
Yeah, I forgot about Takeshita attacking them.
So I think this is going to go past Dynasty and be a pretty decent feud here.
Do you think the Callis family is going to be definitely one side of the blood and guts this year?
I don't know. They usually do that in, when is it? Is it June or August? Is it June?
I have no idea. You're not wearing the shirt, are you?
Yeah, no. I am wearing. We didn't do the T-shirt check, but I will tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a lovely FTR shirt, Living Legends, from the AEW crate tonight. And you're not wearing any AEW shirts. No.
But I have earrings that look like they have little fish in them.
That's not AEW.
But it's cool. Just
it's
like
cool.
Your shirt.
Yeah. But so I think the Callis family and BCC feud, I think will go after Dynamite, and I think it'll be a pretty good feud. You know, there's some great matchups. I mean, in there, Will Ospreay versus anyone. He's fighting Castagnoli on Wednesday. We haven't seen him fight Moxley yet, and of course, he's fighting Danielson at the pay-per-view.
And Yuta has to be coming back pretty soon, right? Because they thought he was going to be back for that CMLL match like 2 weeks ago, but he still wasn't medically cleared. But if they booked it thinking he'd be medically cleared by then, he has to be close, right? I mean, unless something went wrong.
You would think so, but I really don't know when he's supposed to be back.
Yeah, it's hard to predict because it's an undisclosed injury.
Yeah, so this has been kind of a little look into the future. What do we think is going on directly after Dynasty? Where do we think things are heading? This has been Where's This Going? And so AEW looks with all these storylines going on, and that's the thing. How many did we just run down? And people always talk about AEW doesn't have stories. How many things did we just run down right there? It's crazy. Those people who say that are just nuts.
I think it's people that watched AEW at the beginning,
yeah.
And then were like, "Oh, there's no stories. I'm gonna just watch WWE."
Yeah.
And so they haven't seen the product since then, and it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
it definitely has.
Because
there was a point where the stories all took place in the ring. Like there would be a story, but it would be directly related to a match.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a point where you could say they don't have story. They don't have traditional what WWF and WWE has trained everyone to think of as a wrestling story. They don't tell them in that manner. But now they do a little bit.
But not too much, which is awesome.
But not too much. Yeah, just enough.
There was
just
not 45 minutes of straight talking.
Right.
Show,
Jesus.
which I appreciate.
Yeah. All right. So that's been Where's This Going? So coming up next, we have the top five. The AEW Top 5, where every week we strive to bring you the most accurate top 5 in the business. Our ratings even more accurate than those put forth by AEW themselves. We guarantee it.
Because our ratings are for the week.
Our ratings are week by week, yes.
Not accumulative.
It's not, yes, correct. It's just for this week. Where do things stand? So where do we want to start? Men, women, or teams?
I think we did teams last week, so let's start with women.
All right. Women, number 5 this week. Coming in with looking good in a loss even to Toni Storm. Azumi from Stardom. Number 4, back in the rankings, the TBS champion, Julia Hart. Of course, has a title defense coming up against Willow Nightingale at Dynasty next week. Number 3, up one spot from number 4 last week. She had the win over Anna Jay. Thank you. Mariah May, number 3. Number 2 this week. She's the number 1 contender. She's fighting for the women's world title at Dynasty. Thunder Rosa. Been very good since she came back. Excuse me. Undefeated since she came back as well. And number 1, she's been number 1 for quite a while. The AEW Women's World Champion, Toni Storm, who got the win, looked very good in a very competitive and fun match against Azumi. So that's number 1, Toni Storm. Number 2, Thunder Rosa. Number 3, Mariah May. Number 4, Julia Hart. Number 5, Azumi. Yes, that was number 5.
Live.
I don't know. I was trying to say like 4 and 5 at the same time. Number 5, Azumi. So what are we, men or teams? Men. Number 5, Kazuchika Okada, the AEW Continental Champion, member of the Elite. Got the win against whatever his name was, Cristiano Argento. And of course, he is unbeaten since coming to AEW and has looked great in every match he's had. Number 4, the AEW International Champion, back in the top 5, member of the Undisputed Kingdom, and he got the win over Rocky Romero at Battle of the Belts 10, Roderick Strong. Number 3, back in the top 5. He had been in for several weeks and dropped out last week because he didn't wrestle. But number 3 this week, Adam Copeland, the AEW TNT champion, defended his belt against Penta on Dynamite this week. Number 2, staying at number 2, he's getting a world title shot at Dynasty, Swerve Strickland. And I think he's going to win it.
Me too.
And number 1, he's been number 1 for quite a bit, a couple months now, several months now. The AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. Many weeks in a row.
Since World's End.
Yeah, since World's End, he's been number 1. All right, and now, so that's number 1, Samoa Joe. Number 2, Swerve Strickland. Number 3, Adam Copeland. Number 4, Roderick Strong. And number 5, Kazuchika Okada. Strong top 5 this week. And now the top 5 teams. Number 5, this is tag teams and trios. Number 5, new team, but they look great. Even in losing, they made the top 5. Matt Sydal, Dante Martin, and Action Andretti lost to who they lose to? House of Black. Yeah. Number 4, the team that beat them, the House of Black, who is feuding with everyone lately, and the House of Black, the trio. Number 3, back in the top 5, Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson of the BCC got the tag team main event win on Collision over who they face on
Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher.
Thank you, yes. Number 2, they've been number 2 for a couple weeks in a row now, and are fighting for the World Tag Team titles in a ladder match at Dynasty, FTR. And number 1, same deal. They've been number 1 for several weeks now, and are fighting for the World Tag Team titles in a ladder match at Dynasty, the Young Bucks of the Elite. So that's number 1, the Young Bucks. Number 2, FTR. Number 3, Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson. Number 4, The House of Black. And number 5, Matt Sydal, Dante Martin, and Action Andretti. And those are your AEW top 5 listings for April 15th, 2024. And coming up right now, we have Kay Fabulous with her wrestling fashion do's and don'ts, returning after a week without having fashion advice.
Because I was being attacked by allergies.
I almost went clothesless last week. I didn't know what to wear. Don't.
If you're a Lucha Brother, don't wear gear with detailing so close to the garment color that it doesn't read on camera, like Mega Man lookalike Penta El Cerro Miedo.
He's wearing all blue on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Strange outfit.
And like the detailing on his stuff's always so cool, and it was a bummer.
Do.
If you are the new ROH World Champ, do rock the new Redneck Kung Fu Chicken shirt, available on Shop AEW, like Mark Briscoe.
We are not paid sponsors.
No, it's just a cool shirt.
Or they are not paid sponsors, rather.
I just got a something went wrong.
Oh. There she goes.
Coming back. Maybe. Yes.
Well.
Sorry.
I think she's coming back. Yeah, she's coming back. Okay, here we go.
Sorry about that. StreamYard informed me something went wrong.
All right, she's back.
All right. If you are an EVP, oh, sorry, I skipped a part.
Do.
If you are an EVP, do wear a lilac, well-fitted suit with a pattern reminiscent of a fancy wallpaper like Nicholas Jackson.
Do.
If you are timeless, do wear a red sequin top with beaded fringe and matching trim on your trunks like Tony Storm.
Do.
If you want to look like the coolest dad at Collision, do sport an awesome green mohawk like that dude with the kid in the front row this week. Shout out to him, whoever he may be.
Do.
If you want to tell a story without saying a word, do wear the top of the woman who fed you champagne and kissed you center ring like Mariah May during her interview on Collision.
Yeah, she showed up on Collision wearing the, what's her name? What was that woman's name? Whatever her name was. Her former tag team partner. She showed up wearing her top on Collision. I don't know if you missed that. They didn't say anything about it. It was very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
If you want to show off how awesome you are on one of your rare AEW appearances, don't wear a black bucket hat that makes you look like you are ready for a 90s rave like Angelico.
Do.
If you want to add some gravitas to Shane Taylor promotions, do wear an immaculately tailored vest like Anthony Agogo. Seriously, that vest was perfect. It's hard to fit clothes like suit clothes to muscly men. It's very impressive.
Do.
If you are making your Collision debut, do wear gear that looks like a Trapper Keeper, as Azumi did. And for our younger listeners who don't know what a Trapper Keeper is, Google it.
Funky styles on the Trapper Keeper.
And that is your fashion do's and don'ts.
Thank you, Kay. Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it every week. And so now it is time for the AEW News Roundup. Of course, bringing you all the news that's fit to print this past week in AEW. All right. Matt Hardy, a free agent after AEW contract expires. Hardy has opted not to sign a new deal offered to him by the company. Fightful Select reported that Hardy has allowed his AEW contract to expire, opted not to sign a new deal. This was confirmed by Dave Meltzer. The 49-year-old noted on his podcast last month that he was offered a contract to remain in AEW. He said the deal was for, quote, a few years, but he was currently weighing his options. Hardy attended the March 18th episode of WWE Raw in his home state of North Carolina. He would later explain that his attendance along with his wife that night was, quote, an innocent thing after they were invited by a friend to sit in a suite for the show. Hardy first signed with AEW in 2020 and debuted March 18th, 2020 on Dynamite. Jeff Hardy joined him in the promotion beginning in 2022, March of 2022. Matt Hardy's deal was originally up at the end of March, but Fightful reports that word within the company is that it had been extended by a few weeks through WrestleMania. It's not clear whether the deal was extended as a result of time missed due to injury or for other reasons. So we'll see if Matt Hardy resigns or not. As far as Jeff's contract, I'm not sure when it's up, but he hasn't been on TV lately either, and that I just don't.
His nose got broken.
Yeah.
So I think that's why.
I think that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, he could just wear a mask or something.
Also, they horribly underutilize him, so I think that's also why.
Well, that was my point. Yeah. Yes. He hasn't been on TV. I don't get that.
If I was Matt Hardy, I don't know if I'd resign with AEW.
Yeah.
They've done nothing with him.
Well, Jeff Hardy definitely needs to be on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't know. Yeah, they can't have the Hardy Boys and not utilize them, you know.
And you have Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, and Christian. Like, people would love that.
Yeah. Well.
Or get them on like the same side. And there's so many possibilities on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or that were on the table.
Well, may still be. We'll see. AEW Collision viewership up slightly. 18 through 49 demo up big. This past Saturday night's late night episode of Collision came on at 11:30 because of the NCAA. Viewership was up 1.1% from the previous week. The show also averaged a 0.15 rating in the 18 through 49 demo, which was up 36.4% from the previous week. So good ratings for Collision, even in the 11:30 time slot.
Do you think people that were watching the game were like, "Oh, what's this new show that I haven't heard of before?" And then so they stayed and watched it?
Yeah, they must have. But like I said, it only went up a little.
I meant for that demo though.
Well, for that demo, I suppose. Yeah,
Like,
because the rest of the demo went to bed.
Yeah.
we went to bed. We're not over 49, but we still went to bed. We watched it the next day.
We were tired.
And Collision also aired shortly after the first night of WrestleMania 40 concluded. So if people were in the mood for more wrestling, better wrestling, they had Collision that night. AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door no longer being planned for Arthur Ashe Stadium. Andrew Zarian reported on his Beyond the Bell podcast that AEW's annual Forbidden Door event with New Japan won't be held in the New York City Stadium. This June, Fightful further reported that won't be held in the New York Stadium this June. Fightful further reported that this was due to New Japan not wanting to split the costs with AEW when it comes to running the venue. However, Rocky Romero on X denied Fightful's claim. So who knows what's going on, but they're not running it in Arthur Ashe. Last month, Tony Khan announced that this year's Forbidden Door would also feature talent from CMLL and Stardom, as AEW has strengthened ties with both promotions over the last several months. Last year's show in Toronto was headlined by Bryan Danielson defeating Kazuchika Okada, and Sting, Darby Allin, and Tetsuya Naito teaming together to defeat Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. One of the best shows of the year last year. And Forbidden Door, man, with CMLL, Stardom, New Japan, and AEW this year, it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Well, it can't be just New Japan anymore because we've taken so many of their wrestlers.
Yeah. Tony Khan says AEW Dynamite was the right time and place to air all-in footage. And this is the quote I was talking about earlier when I was saying I think Jack Perry's coming to join the Elite. Speaking to Uprocks, Khan said that the footage that they aired on Wednesday's show between Jack Perry and CM Punk is relevant to upcoming plans for the Young Bucks, who are set to face FTR in the finals of the World Tag Team Title Tournament at Dynasty April 21st. So this is the quote that Khan had. He said, "For us, this is a decision based on the timing of our upcoming pay-per-view, AEW Dynasty, and given where the Young Bucks stand going into the World Tag Team Championship Tournament Finals at AEW Dynasty. This is the right time and place for them to play this footage and talk about why it's relevant to them and AEW going forward and what this means going into AEW Dynasty." So again, I think Jack Perry joining the Elite.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that had CM Punk not done that interview, they were planning on showing this anyway?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, that'd just be a guess.
Yeah, I was asking what you were guessing.
I don't know. The timing would make it seem like no.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to expect a Jack Perry comeback has been in the plans. Mm-hmm. So maybe that just moved up the timetable for it. Maybe that's my guess. I don't know. AEW announced the schedule for their upcoming 8 pay-per-views this year. April 21st, Dynasty in St. Louis. May 26th, Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. June 30th, Forbidden Door, Long Island, New York. August 25th, All In at Wembley. September 1st, All Out in Chicago. October 12th, Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, Washington. November 23rd, Full Gear in Newark, New Jersey. And December 28th, World's End in Orlando. AEW Dynamite ratings up with airing of All In backstage footage. So Wednesday night's episode of Dynamite averaged 819,000 viewers, up 8.9% from last week. So that's good because last week was not good. Best audience total for the show since February 28th. So that's okay. Dynamite drew a 0.30 rating in the 18 through 49 demo, and that's up 30.4% from last week. So both the 18 through 49 demos were up 30% and 36% on Dynamite and Collision. So that's pretty good.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So do you think they had to know that their viewership was going to go up with this footage being released?
Yeah.
Why then did they not make it like the best Dynamite of the year?
Yeah.
To showcase their talent. Like,
yeah.
Instead of, like, this, in my opinion, this is the worst one they've done in 2024.
Yeah.
And this was a terrible week to do it because of that. You know,
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Really poor planning.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very meh episode of Dynamite, as we discussed earlier. Back to Matt Hardy. He says he's negotiating with, quote, everyone available, including AEW, as a free agent. So you guess that would be AEW, TNA, WWE. You guess those would be the main 3. Chris Jericho files for 3 new trademarks. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. On April 10th, Jericho applied to trademark the Learning Tree, the Educator, I guess as a nickname for himself, and, quote, the rarefied air of Jericho. All 3 terms to go along with the latest version of Jericho's character. I tell you, Jericho, there's never been anyone in the business as good at reinventing themselves as Chris Jericho.
Well, good. I hope he reinvents himself and gets rid of this Lionheart. Not a fan. I want my Judas music back so I can sing along.
I think he got the sense that was over, so he's good at knowing when things have run their course too. So.
Yeah, but now people aren't excited when he comes out.
Well, that's because he's kind of a heel right now.
He's not. He's supposed to be a face.
He's kind of a heel.
He's always kind of a heel.
He gave a heel interview on Dynamite this week where he claimed that Hook and the veteran Katsuyori Shibata were going to sit under his learning tree. He said that if Hook and Shibata listened to him and breathed the rarefied air of Jericho, their trio would have nothing but success in the future. AEW is building toward a Jericho versus Hook match. An argument between the two led to Shane Taylor Promotions defeating Jericho, Hook, and Shibata on Dynamite. After losing that trios match, Hook told Jericho to get out and said that he's had enough. And of course, we'll see this week if Jericho can get Hook to come back into his good graces. Miro gives injury update, talks working with Tony Khan. Miro is recovering from a shoulder injury and an elbow injury. And in a new interview with Bill Apter for Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge, Miro gave an update on his recovery from injury. He said, I have a shoulder injury and an elbow injury that occurred late last year, so finally took care of it late January, got a whole bunch of shots, and now I'm recovering, rehabbing, and come back stronger than ever. When Apter mentioned AEW World Champion Samoa Joe as a potential opponent upon his return, Miro said he'd love to fight Joe. Miro added that he also has his eyes on challenging TNT champion Adam Copeland. So it sounds like Miro's after gold, which he has not had yet in AEW. He's been out of action since December 2023. There was a situation earlier this year where Tony Khan mentioned that Miro and Keith Lee were participants that he wanted to use for the planned Meat Madness match at Revolution, but neither were available. The match was postponed until the injured wrestlers are cleared. Following Khan's comments about Meat Madness, Miro tweeted that he's been injured since September and received medical attention in January. He said, quote, I've been injured since September and I got medical attention in January. Sorry he wasn't aware of it. And lastly, after asked Miro what it's like working with Khan, he said, Tony's great, man. He's creative. His mind is running always. He always thinks about wrestling. He's always thinking about how to get things better. So I respect that. I respect that he loves wrestling. He did all his life. And now he's carried that to the second or one of the biggest companies in the world. Adam Copeland explains why he gave pro AEW speech after CM Punk interview. The speech took place on the April 3rd episode of Dynamite. On Dynamite 2 weeks ago, Copeland opened the show by giving a pro AEW speech discussing the importance of the promotion. Very good speech. It was an indirect response to CM Punk's interview on the MMA Hour. Copeland did not say Punk's name, but he mentioned negative BS that had been spewed that week. Copeland said AEW has made pro wrestling better, more fun, and is where the best wrestle. And I agree with all that, personally. Copeland was asked about the promo during an interview with This Is Van Color, whatever that is, that was conducted on April 8th. In explaining his thought process, Copeland said AEW's young locker room needed to hear a positive message. Punk's appearance on the MMA Hour happened 2 days before Copeland's Dynamite speech. Copeland told This Is Van Color that he did not watch the full interview but saw clips of it. When asked if he saw the full interview, he said, I didn't. No, I saw clips. I got better things to do, you know. I really do. I got kids. I don't really care what anybody really has to say. However, what I will say is from the small clips that I think kind of just in scrolling and stuff you see, I realized that our locker room needed a good message. So last week on our show, I went out and kind of spoke to that because it's a young locker room. And it's a young locker room that, for me, because it's a different time, now we try and support each other. I came into locker rooms where it was everybody out for themselves. And it was a bunch of great white sharks. And I never subscribed to that. I always subscribed to the Bret Hart school of, no, you can help. And you can help young people. And you can try and be a positive and show that you don't got to be a dick. I don't know how else to put it. I really don't know how else to put it. So for me, I try and just focus on the positives. There's so many negatives in the world today, and they're both there to find, so why not look to the positives? And to me, our young locker room needed to hear some positives. So that's why I went out and did what I did last week. But I don't need to go searching out the other stuff. Like I said, I got a lot better things to do. I got kids to put to bed. I got the Maple Leafs to watch. I got music to listen to. Punk's comments on the MMA Hour included him saying AEW, quote, is not a real business. Though he called Tony Khan a nice guy, Punk said Khan is, quote, not a boss. He's boss enough to fire his ass, wasn't he? Copeland is the current TNT champion in AEW. He retained the title against Penta El Zero Miedo on Dynamite this Wednesday. Kenny Omega on CM Punk. There's no issue between him and I. Omega discussed Brawl Out during a Friday night Twitch stream. Omega spoke out saying the discussion included a fan asking Omega about where things stand between him and Punk. Omega responded, status with Punk right now, I don't know. It's just mutual respect. We reached out to each other. Here's the thing. I can't really think of anyone that I dislike or have like an issue with, especially an issue with wrestling. It's not like, hey, we're good now. It's we were never bad. Honestly, if it weren't for a complete other factor, we would have been able to have that talk on the night of Brawl Out. There's no issue between him and I, as far as I know. I don't think there is at all. I don't want to seem standoffish or like secretive about what happened. Like, yes, there's legalities and all that stuff, but even if there wasn't, and I know this will sound weird because I've done a lot of comedy stuff in wrestling, but like I'm actually not a huge fan of pulling back the curtain on stuff that doesn't need to be out in public. That's why I'm saying, like, if for whatever reason guys were to fight or whatever, like, it's not for the public to know. That's just for them to air out their stuff, to get it out of their system. That's all I mean.
I also read that his number one priority when it was happening was to protect Larry.
Correct. That's what it said. He was only able to create a peaceful environment for Punk's dog, Larry, which Omega says was the most important thing.
Awesome.
Omega said that while he has an EVP title in AEW, he hasn't had power in more than 4 years now. Omega called himself, quote, a terrible EVP. He said, and I'll tell you why. It's because I'm a terrible EVP. I don't deserve to be an EVP. If people want to ask for my advice, I'll do my best to help them. If there's a fire to put out backstage, I'm going to do my best to be that person. All right, AEW Rampage aired live Saturday episode this week. Due to TNT's coverage of the NBA play-in tournament, Rampage won't be airing on Friday. There will instead be a live Saturday edition on 4/20. The show will air on TNT at 10 p.m. following that night's episode of Collision, meaning there will be a 3-hour live AEW programming block. The Collision/Rampage event is being held at the Peoria Civic Center in Peoria, Illinois. It will include the final build to AEW's Dynasty pay-per-view, which is being held the next day in St. Louis. With the show happening on 4/20, Rob Van Dam has been announced for the April 20th episode of Collision. This will be AEW's Peoria debut. The NBA and NHL playoffs will both be taking place over the next couple months. AEW wrestler Riho in process of renewing a visa. Riho is currently in Japan and doesn't know when she'll be back in AEW. In a Friday night post to her Instagram stories, Riho informed fans that she's currently in Japan to renew her visa. She wrote, I'm currently in Japan for renew my visa. I don't know when I will return to AEW. Please stay healthy and enjoy your life until then. So there's that.
Because when she comes back, we're going to start not enjoying our lives again.
Hey, there's Dylan. Last Week in Wrestling podcast. Yo. Riho's most recent match against Willow Nightingale in the main event of the Big Business edition of AEW Dynamite on March 13th. Nightingale defeated Riho to win that match. Jon Moxley appearance. The Elite 6-man tag set for AEW Dynamite. So here's what's going on Dynamite in 2 days from now. Adam Copeland and Willow Nightingale versus Brody King and Julia Hart in a mixed tag match. Will Ospreay of the Callis family versus Claudio Castagnoli of the BCC. The Elite, that's the Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion, versus Penta El Zero Miedo, Pac, and Daniel Garcia in a trios match. Very interesting team there. That should be a great match. John Moxley to appear following his IWGP World Title win. Chris Jericho meeting with Taz and FTW champion Hook. Deonna Purrazzo versus Mariah May. Samoa Joe to speak. And Swerve Strickland to speak. Sounds like a good episode of Dynamite they have brewing there in AEW. And folks, that has been this week's episode of AEW Weekly. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. If you did, please, click like. Please share us around. Share us with your friends and family members, all that. If people like AEW, let them know that there's a weekly podcast dedicated just to AEW. We usually do about an hour and a half to 2 hours every Monday at 6 p.m. live. And, of course, you can watch it after the fact. You can watch it on YouTube or X. And also after the fact, you can listen to it as a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places. So check us out and share us around. And as I said, we will be back Thursday, 6 p.m. We're doing an AEW Dynasty picks and preview episode where the No Bones About Wrestling pay-per-view pick championship will be on the line, where whichever of us picks the most matches correctly wins the prediction championship, which is the belt hanging over there furthest that Kay's head is blocking. Well, now you can see it. Now there it is. Yeah, the one with the red on it.
And I should point at me because I currently am the champion.
She is currently the pay-per-view prediction champion.
And I have been for a while. Like an embarrassingly long time.
For a couple months. For a couple months, actually. Somehow.
Because I'm brilliant.
Well, because you stand at the fount of my knowledge every week and you get to absorb all that in.
So you're saying I won because of your knowledge?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that mean that you would win if all of my winning knowledge is coming from you?
I don't catch everything I'm saying. I'm just a vessel for wrestling knowledge. I'm just saying it, what comes into my head, and you get to hear it. I don't get to hear it all. It just blows past me. That's how fast I process it.
You're assuming I listen to you when you talk to me.
Anyways, so again, Thursday, 6 p.m., Dynasty preview and predictions. Be here, check us out. We'll be on YouTube, we'll be on X, we'll be on Twitch, all those places. 6 p.m. Thursday. And we may do we won't, sorry. In the next few weeks, though, I believe we're going to start doing watch-alongs for AEW shows. I can't tell you exactly when. As I said, it won't be next week, but in the next few weeks, I believe we'll start doing that. So check for those too. Watch us for those too. That'll be a fun time.
And I want to say thank you to Mindrunner, Dynamite Download, and Last Week in Wrestling podcast for joining us in the chat. And thanks to all the viewers who were watching along silently at home. But feel free to join the chat when you're watching us, because we love to hear your thoughts and your feedback.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's it for now. Stay tuned on YouTube. I keep telling you there is new content coming up that is not AEW Weekly, and that it is coming. It's happening soon. So stay subscribed on YouTube, and you'll get notifications when everything gets posted. So I won't tell you what that content is yet, but it is coming. So watch for it.
And it's totally not because we don't know yet.
No, I know what it is. It's not AEW related content.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with AEW. I'll tell you that much. Or WWE. We don't do WWE. But you'll see. So thank you for watching. And as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.